Let's discuss all of this with Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, who has been listening in to all of these developments. Michael, great to see you. Your reaction
Good to see you.
to what you've heard in this indictment.
There's nothing that has been said that I couldn't have scripted out in advance of the Trump Organization's counsel, whether it was Alan Futerfas or the other attorney. Obviously, what else can Donald say? What else can Alan Weisselberg say? It's political. It's political. He's been saying this witch hunt sort of language since the very first day that he took office. No one is allowed to investigate Donald unless Donald tells you he's allowed to be investigated. And that's the problem here. So, look, everybody has to just take a step back, read through the indictment as it's written instead of skimming through it in order to find pieces. What you're going to find is that Alan Weisselberg is in substantially greater jeopardy than he was last night. You know, Allison, I've said this before, and I want to say it to you as well. There's a big difference between when you're under investigation and when you're under indictment. The next step for Alan Weisselberg and possibly his children is prison. And we already saw the numbers as by your group before of 7 years for each of the 15 counts. That's 105 years that the man is looking. Now, nobody believes that he's going to get 105 years, but even 3, like I was charged with, it's a long time. And that feeling of the handcuffs or shackles or however else that they paraded him through, that's real. And he knows the reality now a lot greater than he did yesterday.
And so, Michael, I mean, because you've been in this very position in terms of being indicted and knowing the difference between an investigation and an indictment, what we've learned, at least from what has leaked out in media reports, is that Alan Weisselberg was not interested in cooperating up until now. Do you think that today something changes?
Yeah, I mean, he would be crazy not to, because right now his life is on the line. He's 74 years old. He gets 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. That's real time when you're in your golden years. He doesn't want to be away from his wife and his sons and his grandchildren. He wants to be with his family. He wants to go on down to Boynton Beach and enjoy his golden years of his life, not hanging out with a bunch of other inmates, whether it's in an Otisville type scenario, of course that's federal, or wherever they're going to send him. It's not a joke at this point in time. And here's the thing. I think it was one of the members of your panel, I forget who it was, made a statement which is very true. What you have right now is Alan Weisselberg's head on the chopping block. And do you think that Donald Trump will protect him? Well, if Alan looks back at what happened to me, the answer is an emphatic no. He's going to pay the legal bills up until he gets tired of paying the legal bills because it's too much money. Why am I paying for everybody's money? Why am I paying for everybody's bills? And then he's going to cut them off. It's no different than what he did to me. First, they bring you in, they hug you, they tell you everything's going to be fine. And then when things really get hot, that's when Donald runs. And the beauty of Donald doing that for him is he's going to say, well, that's why I paid my CFO. That's why I paid the accounting firm. I also want to just say to you, Alan Weisselberg is not the keystone. He is not the keystone to this investigation.
Michael, I want to ask you about something that I think you have some information about personally. In the indictment, there are some details about the tuition, okay, that went for Alan Weisselberg's, I think, grandchildren. So there is a $359,000 check to Columbia Grammar School that Weisselberg's grandchildren went to, that it looks like were, according to this indictment, signed by Donald Trump himself. Do you have any information about that?
Of course. What's the exact question that you want? Why is it signed by Donald? How many times on all of these shows do I have to say, there is nothing that happened at the Trump Organization that did not go to Donald, whether it was the purchasing of paper clips or the payment of Alan Weisselberg's grandchildren's tuition. Every single thing went on Donald's death signature.
Oh, hold on. I'm just making sure I didn't lose you. Do you hear me? Can you hear me, Michael? Michael? Okay, hold on. Okay, we're going to get Michael back in a second, but right now we want to bring in Ellie. Ellie, tell me everything. I know you've been combing through the 24-page indictment. Tell us everything that you have gleaned.
I'm speed reading. One thing that jumps out to me, Allison, is there are definitely others involved. I say involved. Whether they'll be charged is a separate question. Here's a couple of indicators of that in the indictment. The indictment talks about employees, plural, who were paid through this scheme. The indictment talks about how one of the largest, meaning there's others, beneficiaries was Allen Weisselberg. The indictment talks about how Allen Weisselberg and others directed this scheme. I found that really important. Allen Weisselberg and others, who are those others, directed this scheme. That Trump Organization personnel, including Allen Weisselberg. You get the point. One thing that jumped out at me on the indictment, in particular at page 10, the allegation is that the scheme to defraud tax authorities in relation to compensation paid to the Trump Organization executives and employees extended to persons other than Weisselberg. Who are these people? That's the big question. Who else is involved? Who else is potentially on the hook for this?
Okay, stand by, panel, if you would, because we have Michael Cohen back with us, I believe. So Michael Cohen, of course, Donald Trump's longtime personal attorney. So Michael, I mean, basically what I'm alluding to with this is that I know that you have sat many times with prosecutors and given them, you know, what you know now. And so have you been able to point them to any specific fraudulent transaction that you can tie to Donald Trump that you think is now connected here?
Right. So let me once again say that I won't discuss my conversations with the district attorney out of respect for the investigation. All I can say is, yes, there are a multitude of documents that are in the possession of prosecutors that tie Donald Trump to everything, because everything went through Donald. I don't know how many more times I could possibly say the same thing. You know, every single thing, whether it was the acquisition of paper clips, light bulbs, furniture, mattresses, you name it, right? Allen Weisselberg's kids' payments, rents, everything would have a Donald signature on it or his initial, and that included, and there are other people at the Trump Organization who additionally received the same sort of perk benefits that Allen Weisselberg did, including like the chief operating officer, Matthew Calamari. You know, there are so many people that received these type of benefits. The question is, how did they treat it on their taxes? And why is it that it was done, and how is it that it was done and booked by the Trump Organization? Now, one of the things before I lost you in terms of sound that I was saying, what Donald will do, since he doesn't have emails, is he's going to claim that this is everybody else's fault. That's part of the Donald strategy. That's his playbook. It's not me. It's Michael Cohen. It's not me. It's Allen Weisselberg. It's not me, it's Matthew Calamari. But then he's going to say, it's not me, it's the accounting firm. So do you think that there's not going to be other people that are going to step up to the plate and provide all of the additional testimony that corroborates the documentary evidence that they already have?
Well, I don't know, Michael, because here's what's interesting, is that though everything you've said rings true, in the past, for everything that has come up, whatever allegations there have been, somehow Donald Trump has skirted accountability. As you well know from your life, you went to prison, he didn't. And so why do you think this time is going to be any different?
Well, you know the expression, right? The cat has 9 lives. I think his 9 lives have expired, because the documentary evidence that's in the hands of the prosecutors is so significant and it's so spot on that there's no way anybody's getting out of it. And again, neither Allen Weisselberg or Calamari or anybody are the keystone here, because the documents speak for themselves, and there are more than enough people that are capable in testifying to what went on, myself included.
Michael, I have another question for you. Because you've lived through this, what is Donald Trump saying to Allen Weisselberg right now? What message is he sending to him? And if they are still speaking, I mean, I know that you were still speaking to him and in contact until the point where your apartment and office were raided, and then you would get messages through his lawyers. So what sorts of messages are coming into Allen Weisselberg now?
Allen, listen, I know what you're going through. This is terrible. It's part of the witch hunt. You know it. I know it. Stay the course. Stay strong. I have your back. You know, don't worry about the finances. We're going to take care of all of it. We're going to take care of your attorneys. Do not worry. right? This is all nonsense. It's all the politicization of, of the Trump organization and me. They've been fighting for years. You know that we've been through much bigger wars than this. Just stay strong with me, and I promise you I have your back. Guess
That
what?
sounds pretty persuasive.
It sure does, but guess what? It's not true.
গতিকে অবিলম্বে কৰা প্ৰতিকাৰে নতু ধ্বংস হ'ব অম্লপতিপুৰ ধ্বংস হ'ব দেৱ ভৈৰৱ সুন্দৰা এতি পলকতে নৰলে শুনা শুনা পুৰন্দৰা মুখৰব ঈশানা প্ৰলয় হুংকাৰে আহে কোন প্রান্ত ইতিরানন্দ পুনা পুনা পুরন্দর মুহুরব সদা প্রলয় হুঙ্কারে আহে হীরনাইক নারায়ণ নারায়ণ
দেবরকি ইয়ার এটা উপায় জব দেবরকি
উপায়
দেবরকি উপায় দেবরকি উপায় দেবরকি উপায়
সপ্তন্দর এক দিবনুয়ারা যদি দৈত্য করি মন হে নারায়ণের পাখে দুয়া পাবা আমি মন হে নারায়ণের পাখে দুয়া পাবা আমি মন হে নারায়ণের পাখে দুয়া পাবা আমি ধানে নারায়ণ